I'm showing you this tree because look at this poor thing. Look at the damage on it. Goodness gracious. Look down there. See all these little holes? These are woodpeckers. They came in and pecked this poor tree. This thing is going to be dead before we know it, I'm sure. But then you see how the bark has started growing back over here. It like flipped over. And it's trying to heal itself. But it started from, see right here? This is where the shaker grabbed the tree at some point and it shakes them all up to get the nuts out of the trees. And if you don't get a good grip on the tree when you're shaking, then it just tears that bark all up. I'll show you another tree almost across from this one. Over here had the same issue, not to that degree that we just saw. There's Bond, there's Rachel. We're getting ready to plant some more trees, but look at this. So same thing, here's where the shaker grabbed the tree, started shaking it, and because it wasn't held on good, it just tore all the bark up. So again, you see how the bark is kind of rolling itself over here. It's trying to heal itself, but luckily the woodpeckers didn't come in here. But look at this thing. See how it's really healing itself? Pretty good for a tree to be able to do all that. But here we go to our planting again. So there's our auger. See how it just spins. I kind of marked on the ground where I thought the tree should go.
Okay, stop.
So Rachel's holding that bar because she's trying to keep the auger level. If you don't hold on to that, the auger could swing one way or the next.
Come back just a go up and back a little.
So she's giving Bond all the instructions how she wants that sucker to go in the ground. There we go.
Stop, down.
Yeah, see how nice and perpendicular to the ground that is? And then Bond's going to turn it on with the PTO. So that's the PTO right there, spinning. So it's spinning the shaft. That is digging the hole. And when you go down, you can't dig down like 5 feet without coming up and down. It's too much dirt. But see all that orange in there? That's clay. Georgia is known for its orangey red clay everywhere once you get down. Basically, we have pretty good soil here. But when you go deep, then you get all that clay. Then you see all that stuff stuck on the auger. Oh, get out of the way. So Rachel is going to take the pickaxe here and try to remove some of that clay off the auger. So that's all she's doing. And I'm telling you, man, that stuff is heavy because it's wet and then it's just clay. So let's look in our hole. Can you see how deep that went in there? Let me get a tree. I already pulled one out. So here's our little tree we're going to stick in the ground. These are all caddos, C-A-D-D-O. That's how you spell it. So this is what it looks like. See its root system on there. It's still nice and wet. So we're going to stick them in. We want the ground to come to somewhere about there. So let me see. Yeah, I think we're at a pretty good height.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna.
And that's here. Let us do it.
All right.
You'll get to know the hole.
So my job is just to hold the tree. I got the easy job. They got to fill the hole.
Get ready to stamp it.
Yeah. So you'll fill it up with some dirt, and then you need to compress it. You need it. You know, we don't have water. We could compress it with the water, but we don't have that. We do have irrigation, but not just free running water. So they just step in there, kind of smush it down. And you just stamp it a couple times. And you want your dirt that you're filling in to be level with the ground around you. So everybody's working there. All right, my other job is to take my loppers, and then we always prune the top off. And I'm 5'2", so this tree's, you know, another foot plus above my head. So give that to Rachel. So you want to cut at an angle above a node. These are all nodes, if you can see that. That's where a little branch would form. So those are called nodes. So I'm going to cut him right above a node at an angle. And there we go. And as they grow, they'll kind of straighten up some on their own. I know people ask, why aren't we tying them to straighten them out? We don't need to. They'll just kind of do it on their own. We're going on to another one. So there's the auger. He's still going around and around. Here's our little old tractor. This was something my husband had since he was a teenager. So this is super old. And it was already old when he bought it. So that tells you something about John Deere equipment. So if you can see all this in front of us, this is where trees have come out. They've been blown down by hurricanes. They've been blown down by tornadoes. I mean, it's always something out here. All right, so, and you can see, I don't know if you can see, but there is a hole. Do you see my foot stepped in there? That's where a tree was. We don't want to go back into the same existing hole, because then we don't even have enough dirt. So we're going to go a little bit in, yeah, we're going to go in front of that hole. So we are in front of that hole, because that's where the hole was. So now we're digging. Well, the auger is digging. We are doing nothing to dig. Thank God. But like I said, see how you got to come up and down a little bit as it goes down that. Otherwise, it would just be way too heavy. It'd get down to the bottom. We'd never get it up.
Yeah.
So we want the ground level to be like right there. You see where all the roots are kind of stopping? We are actually a tiny bit low. Let me see if I can poke that sucker down there.
You want me to get it out?
Yeah, when the auger came up, it hit a lot of the dirt.
Not
Here, I
today.
can pick it up, Pam.
Well, we're gonna be okay.
There's the level right there.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. Y'all go ahead. And again, as they fill it in, you want all the dirt being filled into the hole to be level with the existing ground that's around it. And there's a couple reasons for that. One,
You tilt this way a little bit.
I'm sorry, I'm not doing my job holding the little tree. So there's Bond smushing it down some more. But the reason you want the ground to be level is if you have a little sinkhole around your tree, number one, that's just not good. Number two, when you do have pecans finally, all the pecans will want to congregate right there. And it's kind of a pain to get the pecans right from around the tree sometimes. I mean, even though you have this giant blower that goes on the back of the tractor, it's just better if they're not stuck somewhere. You might not be able to blow them out of a hole. And then that means hand labor to come pick them up. Oh yeah, see this? This is how all these trees come, full of tags. Got to pull that stuff off. There. See all that mess in my hands? And a lot of times where the graft is, you'll see a white ribbon tied around there. And we got to pull that off, otherwise it'll just girdle the tree. It'll be like if you've seen pictures of the poor little sea turtles with plastic around their bodies from like 6 packs of Cokes, and their body gets real scrawny where that plastic was. The same thing will happen to the tree. Just girdle the thing. All right, this right here, this wasn't on the last tree. See that white ribbon? It's plastic ribbon. That's where the graft was. So we got to peel all that off. So it's not too bad to plant. It just takes a while. You know. Plus it's as far as I'm concerned, freezing out here. I know for anybody up north, they'll say, what, 48 degrees isn't freezing, but down here it sure is. Plus, look at our skies. We have no sun.
Forward.
It's all overcast. Kind of ugly day. And we do have irrigation down here. We got a line buried up under the ground. It is probably somewhere in this vicinity.
Okay. Yeah.
And it just runs from one end of the row all the way down to the other end of the row. Well, as you can see, we're still planting trees. There's Vine and Rachel. It's gonna be all day anyway. But we came across some, well, let's watch Rachel get it started. That to me is always the fun part. Alright, so let's look at why I turned this thing back on. See that tree? See that big old branch? This is what happens when, number one, you got a load of pecans up in there right before harvesting. They're nice and big and fat, and a wind comes through and you will have branches snapping like crazy, just like that one did. And if you can't tell how big that is, trust me, no one can just pick that up. I mean, we had a hard time finding. I just moved one of these and it doesn't even look like any kind of branch, but it's heavy. But you know, we're just gonna cut it up for firewood. Our nephew's getting married next weekend, and we're gonna bring him a truckload of firewood, and this is gonna be part of it because we're building him a fire pit for his wedding gift. And then here's another problem. Let me get to this tree over here. Again, you got a bunch of nuts on the tree, you got a bunch of wind, and then you add rain into the formula there, and the ground just says, hey, tree, you're so darn heavy, you just go ahead and fall over. So this tree right here is leaning so badly. Can you see him? He should be straight, and he's not. And I don't know if you can even tell down here. You can see how the roots are pulling up. Somehow the tree hadn't toppled over. I really don't even know how. And so what you'll do, we can try to straighten him up. You would take the tractor and you would push on the tree on this side, because this is where it's leaning. Just try to prop him up some. And then you would come with some lines, you know, 3 or 4 lines, whatever it takes. And, you know, you tie them way up in the tree, and then you just extend them down to the ground with a big stake in the ground, just to try to hold the tree up. And then he'll compensate and grow some more roots. And then this is sort of fun. This limb here at some point broke off, and I don't know, probably the wind broke it off at some point. You see, like I've said, the cambium is growing over, trying to heal that. And then to compensate, he said, look at this, I'm going to grow some new branches on this side. And so he started growing some branches. And this is how you know the growth from each year. Like, you see how this is a long straight stem, and then up here it branches. So this tree grew this branch from that tree up to there in 1 year, and then it branched. And then you look at the next time where it branched, it wasn't that much, so he didn't grow a whole lot that year. And could have been, we didn't get any rain. You know, we go through periods of no rain, believe it or not. And then if you look again from there all the way up there, see how long that and straight that is? We must have had a really good year of a lot of rain, and he grew that much. So, you know, trees kind of talk to you in a way, even though people say they don't. They do. They're telling you what's going on with them. You just have to be able to look and know what's happening. Well, to add to the enjoyment of our planting party today, we have run into a different kind of clay in our field. Can y'all see this stuff? No more red clay. Well, there is some red clay, but basically no more. Now we got all this white clay. And on the last tree, it just sucked the auger down. So Rachel had to sit here with the shovel and dig the thing out pretty much. And then it finally came up. So what is this clay?
Kaolin.
Kaolin. Okay. The white clay is kaolin. So we got a good mixture of stuff out here. So here's my next tree going in. I had to cut his little root off a little bit.
Yeah, this is a weird one.
Yeah, this whole thing, this is what see that part of his roots? He was like this. See how wide his little root was? So I'm like, that's not fitting in that hole. So I just had to cut it off. Still at an angle, but it should at least fit in the hole. And we still got plenty of roots, little lateral roots all over the place. So, yeah, I think our hole is, yeah, we are way too deep there. So let's throw some stuff in. Throw some of that good white clay in there. I was saying I really wanted to try to make some bricks with all our red clay. No, it's good. I mean,
Too much?
no, add a little more.
Add a little more?
Yeah,
Wait a minute. It's,
not much, but a little.
see the hole? It's uneven.
Oh. Okay.
Uneven.
Vaughn's trying to level it, and then we'll throw a little bit more dirt in there. Then we should be a pretty good height. I mean, look at that clay. It is just like water soaked. All right, roots, get in there. All right, we're good. And it's heavy. It's a lot heavier, isn't it?
A lot heavier.
Yeah. It looks like it is. I haven't done it, but it looks. All right, Vaughn's smushing it down a little more. I think it almost did, like I said, like a suction cup and just sucked that auger down there. Yes, I did wear my insulated jumpsuit today because I knew it was cold. Yesterday we were out here doing this. I was just freezing the whole day. I just had a regular jacket on and sweatpants. Rachel, on the other hand, is used to all the freezingness coming from the Denver, Colorado area. I am not, even though we've been down here for 29 years.